Hi, this is Shibani Kashyap and you're watching me on ArtistAloud.com. And thank God it's Rock on Friday. I'm a vocalist and a musician. I would like to say that I always strive to be a complete musician. I like to make my own music so that I can actually bring forth my own sound, something which is representative of me as an artist, which is an extension of me, Shibani Kashyap. I always knew, even as a little girl, that I had to be a musician. I dabbled with playing the guitar, making music, composing music, singing, being a live performer. I have worn many hats within my musicality, so to speak. But music is what I've always been so very passionate about, and I just knew that I had to be a musician. And I was so determined to be a musician and focused that here I am. I am a musician, I have a band. I kind of branched out into pop music, which is indie pop, which was of course not organic, not live, and it was more synthetic and more melodic and more mainstream and commercial. I think I've always had this craving to just go out there and perform live, even if it is just with me and the guitar. I'm a live performer and I see the world performing live. Today we're talking about Sojourne, the band, which I formed very lovingly 5 years ago. A set of musicians, we came together to actually play and make music which is very organic, very unplugged, very natural. I had met Tanu, who's actually originally from Nagpur. Tanu, who's our bassist, and he had played on one of my songs which I was making for my album, and I told him this. I communicated my thoughts and desires of actually forming a band, and then he said, okay, fine, I think let's do something about this. Then both of us together started sourcing out musicians.
I'm the drummer and percussionist. I'm glad that I get to be the loudest one. It's great that when I joined her, I was in college playing in rock bands and funk bands. It was always loud playing and overplaying, and playing with her taught me so much more that playing less is playing more. And that's how I got a lot of knowledge playing alongside her.
Joshua was like a little kid, and we were like, oh my gosh, will he be able to actually play with us? Because my music is definitely mature and it's not like kiddie music. But Joshua just picked up really fast. He's very, very loud. He's extremely energetic, and we really sometimes have to tell him to tone down. But yeah, he's a great kid. He's very, very talented.
I know it started off with my dad recording a track for her, and she had told my dad she's looking for someone, and she gave me this break, and I'm glad that it worked out between both of us, because things have become great for me, and I can never thank her enough for giving me the opportunity.
Members of the band still remain: me, Joshua was on drums, and Tanu on bass. Recently now our lineup is Vishal Lomjail on keyboards. He's from Darjeeling. He's a brilliant musician, very dedicated, and really into his piano, and especially when he plays just piano, and it just sounds so magical. Shirish, I think, is like a diamond to the band. Like, he adds that sparkle to the band, the sparkling sound of sax, flute and violin. With every song, the sound just changes magically, because some songs have the saxophone romantic sound, sensual sound. Some songs have very beautiful, melodious, lilting, soulful sound of the flute, and some of them, of course, my most favorite sound, which is melancholic and haunting, the violin sound.
And I've been playing with Shibani Kashyap for the last almost a year. I basically play the saxophone and the flute and a little bit of violin in the band. Basically, I met Shibani once at a gig where I was playing with Joshua, the drummer, who was my good friend from college. We used to play in a college band together. On one gig where Joshua and I were playing with another artist, Shibani happened to come along and see me, and she spoke to me and she told me, she would really like me to be a part of the band. And so the next opportunity she got to call me, she did. That was my first gig with Shibani, and it went off fantastically.
So it's lovely, because when he's playing and he's doing a solo on stage, I just trip out on it, and it's great. It inspires all of us. It gives us a nice soothing break as well. I like to, make this point, drive this point home, that as Shibani, the solo singer, the solo musician, yes, I dabble with different genres of music. It could be in my album, it could be in my film work that I do. That's something because I like to be very experimental. But keeping Sojourne in mind, the sound is largely very, very synergetic in being organic. It is unplugged, it is organic, it is not, we don't like to use any synthetic sounds or electronica kind of sounds at all. That I would do personally or as a solo musician. But the band, every instrument, it just sounds pretty on its own. We really don't need to dabble with different genres. The sound is essentially soulful, it's melodious, it's Sufi rock. It's got strains of jazz and Sufi on two ends of the stream, but definitely not dabbling with different genres. We're not getting into salsa music here, or we're not going to get into hip hop or R&B or anything of that sort. We keep the sound grainy and organic and soulful and unplugged and very, very, very natural. The style and the renditions would be Sufi and Sufi folk or jazz. So I don't think we'll be departing too much from this kind of genre. If you get behind the wheel, that is simply not a deal. Guitar being my most favorite instrument, I have about 8 guitars and they all sound different. So we like to collaborate with different guitar players in our band, and it's fun because my best friend who's a musician is Saibal Basu, who's a guitar player, and he's absolutely phenomenal. Fortunately, he lives in Delhi, but whenever we will do a gig in Delhi, we'll definitely collaborate with him. There are people who still die. It's nice to experiment and collaborate with different musicians as we go along. We just love collaboration and experimentation.
I've known Shibani for many years now, and when she told me about this idea of the band, that she's planning to come up with something really cool. Though I'm not a musician, I really love music. That was my part of just being a part of the band, made me feel like I was a part musician.
We've done some very memorable gigs till now. Well, last night we were in Dhaka. We had a fabulous time on stage. We were on stage for 3 whole hours. Time just flew by, we didn't know. The crowd was great. We've been to Dubai for a gig. We've done all the gigs which a very dear friend of mine used to promote independent music on top of Del Italia in Pune and Bombay. I've been composing music for Bollywood. I've been doing my own albums. But I think there are some songs which probably don't fit into the commercial and mainstream kind of space. And this is where I found the space on ArtistAloud.com, where songs don't really have to have a message or a particular, dictate of a situation or a film or whatever. So this is a place where I could just very freely express my musicality as is. Music for music's sake. Our album really soon, because we've just almost recorded one song called Don't Stop the Music, and we're working on the rest. And Sojourne's album should be out and ready in the next 6 months. We would like to collaborate with a different musician. It could be a guitar player, it could be a saxophone player, it could be a different percussionist, or like a guest artist on every song. Of course, the core being the same, but having a guest artist, guest musician rather, on every song could be a guest vocalist. Anybody, so that we can get a different sound in every song. It could be a Sojourne and friends.